Next question. This one comes from Mick. And Mick asks, he says he is struck by a thought. Hearing critical race theory so many times mentioned, I realized that I never heard anyone raise the point that a theory, by definition, is something that has been proven scientifically. Would calling it critical race hypothesis be a more accurate description? And to that point, is it another example of the gaslighting nature of the movement that they named it theory, i.e., something that's hard to argue with? So critical race theory it's misnamed, or at least you could argue it's misnamed in the same way that critical theory is misnamed. Neither one of these is a hypothesis that could be proven by facts. Critical race theory is much more like utilitarianism or deontology. Sorry. Critical race theory is much more like utilitarianism or deontology in that it's a set of concepts through which to view the pursuit of knowledge and how to act in the world. It's not something that a scientist could go out into the field and either prove or disprove. It's something that a philosopher would have to argue for or against. Critical race theory is a philosophy. And it's a philosophy that is very closely related to relativism. It's anchored to the idea that there is no objective truth. There are no objective set of standards on which you can build a society. There are no race-neutral set of standards that you can create a society on, because every value structure you adopt for society, by value structure, I mean the laws we write, the way we divide legal from illegal, the way we divide beautiful from ugly, the way we divide right from wrong. Every value structure is inherently of the race that built the value structure. There's no such thing as a race-neutral value structure. And that we have a moral obligation to recognize that America is fundamentally based on a white value structure, not a race-neutral one. And that we essentially have to displace the white value structure with a black value structure, or at the very least, black people should be allowed to live by the black value structure. So, this is related to relativism in that it denies the possibility of objectivity. It's not just saying we live in a biased society. If you read the original critical race theory texts, they're saying not only do we live in a biased society, we could not possibly live in an unbiased society. There's no such thing as an unbiased society. Every society is permanently affected by the group of people that created it. Its values are permanently stamped to give an advantage to the group that built the society. In our case, that's white Europeans, right? White Europeans built it, and so the very structure of society, including those things that seem totally race neutral, such as how we determine whether you graduate from high school, the laws that, the things we bar as illegal. All of these things are inflected with white supremacy. All of these things were created in a way that made sense to benefit white Europeans. It wasn't built for black people. It wasn't built for Hispanics or Asians. And so, and again, not only that, but there could not be a society that was not built by and for a particular group of people. the notion of colorblindness is not possible even in principle. So again, this is not a concept that could be proved empirically, right? There's no data you can collect to prove or disprove critical race theory any more than there's data you could collect to prove utilitarianism, true or false. It's a theory that lives or dies based on whether it is conceptually coherent. And so, I think what you have to realize with critical race theory is anything that denies objectivity or the possibility of objective truths runs into incoherence. Because critical race theory purports to be the very kind of value structure that it rules out as a possibility. Right? On the one hand, it says nothing could be true for everyone in every circumstance, regardless of race. There's no such thing as an objective, universal truth that transcends your belonging to a particular group. But at the same time, it says critical race theory itself is a universal philosophy. It's a philosophy you ought to accept as true, regardless of whether you're white or black. Critical race theory itself claims to be capital T true, but it also rules out the possibility that anything can be capital T true. So this is the problem with all philosophies that prohibit the notion of objective truth. And there's a great book on this called The Last Word by the philosopher Thomas Nagel, which I highly recommend.